That's all that you can do. Girl, be you. That's all that you can do. Don't be nobody else. Don't be nobody else. Don't be nobody else. Don't be nobody else. Girl, you should be yourself. Don't be nobody else. Don't be nobody else. Don't be nobody else. Girl, be you. That's all that you can do. Girl, be you.
Hey y'all, and y'all know this is Gigi. Normally I am doing my podcast, but today I have something very, very special for you guys. I am doing a one-on-one conversation with my father. Y'all know him as Bishop Glenn Miller. I know him as Daddy. So we're going to have a great, great, great conversation. And I know a lot of you all have been wondering and being nosy about why my Facebook posts have been the way that they are. Again, Facebook is very different from Instagram. So, over on Facebook, I share different things. And so for the past couple of weeks, I've been sharing about being a pastor's kid and what that looks like in a very unorthodox type of way, but y'all gonna be okay. So I'm Gigi. You all might know me as Girl Be You. I've been doing it for about almost 10 years, which is crazy. What do? I am a writer. I am a podcaster. I am your big cuz. And to my nieces and nephews, I am their auntie. I ain't y'all auntie, but that is what I do. A little bit about my family. I am the family manager of 4 children. I have been self-appointed as the family manager because they would not move without me. And now I am raising my parents. No, I'm not. No, not for
Yes,
real.
yes,
But,
yes.
I am raising my parents, and this space would not be enough time to share about how we have gotten to this point, because it wasn't always like this, where my dad and I can have like a real honest conversation. And honestly and truly, my father has become one of my best friends. We don't talk every day, but when we do talk, we be talking, and probably about y'all. No, I'm just joking. No, we're not. No, we're not.
Yes, we do.
So that is who I am. I am just a straight no chaser. If you know me, you know that I love hard. I love my family. I'm all about family. I love just creating community and space for Black folks to be, to exist, to learn, to grow. And as you see behind me, I am an avid reader, and just a whole slew of things that I'm really diving into, of just being my most authentic self. And I am able to do that because of this man right here. And we're going to get more into that, but I will let him introduce himself. Daddy, who are you? What do you
I
do?
I am Glenn E. Miller. E stands for excellent sometimes. And sometimes I'm off. Just joking with everybody today. Edward is my middle name. I was born the second child of 9 children. We came up on the west side of Chicago, and then we migrated to the suburbs later in the 70s. And I am now been for the last 35 years a pastor. But more than a pastor, I've been a family man. I've enjoyed celebrating my 4 children and my 4 grandchildren in this season, and my lovely wife of 46 years. What I've learned more than anything is that life is worth living. And life is really something we must do. No one's going to give you life. You must celebrate life. And here with my daughter, my number one that first taught me how to be a father, and that's Gigi. And I celebrate her, as I see up on the logo here. It says "Girl Be You," and this girl has been her for years, and she does her thing when she wants to do it. And now she's claiming to be my parent. So she's
Yes.
walking me through this, I call it the second half of life, and I do appreciate it. So I'm glad to be with her today.
I wish y'all could really see how much it took for us to get on this screen. Hey, I didn't give my daddy I didn't give him any questions, because like what we're going to talk about, I kind of gave him the overview of what we're going to talk about, but I didn't give him any questions because I really want him to be able to be who we know him to be. A lot of people know him as Bishop. A lot of y'all, if y'all been around for years and years, y'all know that he used to be the evangelist of all evangelists back in the day, climbing on stuff, traveling all over the world. But to us, he was just our dad. And one of the things that that I have learned is his ability to really give life lessons. My brother always says that my father has been to the future and he's coming back to warn us. Which is amazing because the things that he says is just like, I would never think that. I remember years ago, I was working this job, and I got my car repoed. I was late on my rent. And see, here's where transparency is real, when you can tell your own story and not
Yes.
feel bad about it.
Right.
And so I had my car repo. I could barely pay my rent. And I called my daddy, and I didn't even have no tears to cry. And I was like, Daddy, what do you do when you just hit rock bottom? He told me, throw my shovel away. And I was like, what? He was like, there's no other place to go. Throw your shovel away and just start rebuilding. I was like, cool. Well, can you send me some money so I can go get my hair done and go to work? And he did just that. So I want to get right into this conversation. And so the reason that I really want to have this conversation, Daddy, and you can interject, is that in May of 1991, you started ministry.
Mm-hmm.
And 1991 and 2025 is very, very different. How did you feel when you felt like God called you to ministry? Like, what did that feel like? Did it feel like you were alone? Did you feel like everybody else was doing it? Like walk us through like what that felt like.
Well, it's hard to explain backwards, but I will try to explain from this perspective, because I felt the call of God. I didn't know it was a call of God. I felt a push or a passion to do something bigger than what I was doing. And sometimes being in seclusion and being isolated makes you feel like there's got to be more. And so at the age of 33, well, 30, I was feeling it, but 33 is when I really launched. And when I launched, it was like I thought that this was the right move, only to get out there to find out that it was not a sure thing. It was still a gamble. And as I was out there trying to make it happen, and I'll still say to this day, it was really my passion for doing something big for God, more than God calling me and say, Glenn, I need you to start a church. It's just in my neighborhood, there was no Pentecostal apostolic church in the area. And I thought this would be a good opportunity to start one. And to my chagrin, I'm like, what have I done? Because you leave a church with probably 200 members to come to a church startup with 7 people. And then those 7 people got attitudes.
Maybe that's one.
Yes. And that's what, and on Easter, you're a big service, dress them up, and there's no one to show your outfit to. So yes, it was challenging, but the more, it's almost like you're picking up momentum.
Yeah.
And as we're picking up momentum, it was good, but it was also discouraging. But I think one of the things that keep a lot of us moving forward is knowing that forward is what God wants us to do. I'm going to say something, and hopefully you'll grab it. It's you can go any place you want to go, but as long as you're going forward makes a difference. You can go wherever
Y'all see
you
what
want.
I mean?
Yes, but going forward, it means that I'm doing something.
Yeah.
And I'll say this. I said this in 91, and I'll say this in 2025. A hobo will not get on a train that's sitting still.
I just want y'all to know this is the way we grew up. I grew up with my father saying the fastest place to any place, G, is a straight line. Sir, we're just trying to get this ice cream sundae from McDonald's. What are you talking about? And when over time, you realize that is true. A hobo is not getting on a train that's not going anywhere. The reason that the hobo is moving on the train is to get to the next point.
Right.
Y'all will get that lesson later.
Yes.
Okay. Now let me ask you this. So we see that a lot of people now, they have a lot of celebratory things. It is, it's cool and popular to have a startup. It's cool and popular to, you know, have a ministry. What do you think is the difference, or what stays the same in both scenarios, right? Because in 91, because I was there, I was 8 years old, we did not have any grand gesture. We did not have social media. We did not have any of that. We had God and the ability to do what God told us to
Right.
do. And thankfully, my daddy had some hustle, which
Right.
is wild to me, and I'm gonna get to that. So you didn't have all of those things, and then now you see that a lot of people have GoFundMe's, they have all these things, they have these big elaborate first services, and they always have something going. Like, what is your like thought process of then and then seeing people now? Like what is that? Like, what do you tell people for that?
I've learned when we first started that I was trying to build outside, but you really have to build inside. And my mom taught me that. And she said something to me, people don't care how much you know until they know how much you care. So now I see it, and I'm grasping the concept more so now, that you build from who you have with you. Jesus did not build with the crowds. A lot of people are going for the crowd. I want a big crowd. But Jesus ran from crowds, and Jesus
Mm.
was never in a hurry, but he always built internally. He built through the 3, and he also built through the 12, and one of them was still in.
A rat, as we would say, a
He was
snitch.
right. So he turned Jesus in, but by purpose, by design, you need those people around you too, because they will
Mm,
define who you need to get rid of. Because
mm,
sometimes you take people along thinking that they're there for you, but
mm.
they're out against you. But you have to be able to decipher that. So from now then until now, what I've learned is love people where they are, and then sometimes you have to love them from afar.
Over there.
Right.
So with that, so learning all of that, I want to incorporate, like, I want to go back just a minute to talk about like how you felt, because sometimes I think as pastors, senior pastors, there's not a space of vulnerability or a space for senior pastors to really say how they truly felt. And now, as a 40-year-old woman looking back into 1991, my father was, how old were you when you started? In 91, you were 33.
The time Jesus died, 33. He got crucified
So,
at 33.
so I just want to let y'all know that I always reference your Jesus year.
Mm-hmm.
My father, in his Jesus year at 33, started a church, was married, and had 2 kids at 33.
Mm-hmm.
At
And
33.
and left a paying job that I've only been married 9 years. Stupid. I would never do it. As a side note, I would never ever do that again.
So you would never quit a job to just
Not
go do full-time ministry?
not from what I've known now. Well, let me say that I wouldn't recommend it that,
Why not?
because you got to have hustle in you. You got to have, if you don't have hustle in you, a lot
Yeah,
of people, they'll do it and then they say, okay, how come it's not working?
yeah.
You have to almost go to your calling like you're
Mm,
going to someone else's job. So
mm.
whatever you have in you, you got to go for it. Wake up every day, tears in your eyes, but yet a drive and a determination to finish whatever it is you're supposed to finish that day. And maybe it's to take the garbage out, but you have to be, you got to have something that you finish. I'm going to do this today, and I finished it. And then celebrate taking the garbage out and say, listen, I took the garbage out. And I think that calls you to move into the next level of doing paperwork and then calling people. So just finish the assignment,
So
whatever that is.
let's talk about hustle a little bit. Do you feel that there's a lack of hustle now?
Oh, there's a lot of lack of hustle because
Why?
a lot of people don't want to. They want the celebratory, but they don't
Mm,
want to do the digging. They don't want
mm,
to do the hard work. They want the easy button, and the easy button works if everything is there. But in order for you to build something, there's got to be foundation. Somebody's got to get dirty for the conception or the building of it. Someone's got to get dirty. Somebody's got to dig, and somebody's got to keep digging, making noise. And sometimes when you're digging, it's really taxing, overwhelming. But know that what you're going to put in the ground is what's going to sustain the organization or the business.
Okay, now let me, because a lot of times people come over here and people be nosy.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, I'm nosy.
Right.
I want to see what's happening. Guys, what are you doing? Okay, so
Where's
I
my
don't
tea
think that.
Where's my tea?
I got my coffee. Do you
Right.
have your tea? You don't have your tea? You should have got your tea. I got my coffee, of course. So I say that because, from my vantage point, it's 30 years. Life Christian Center, Become Life Christian Center, has been in existence for 34 years. Next year, it'll be 35, which is crazy to me. Now, I'm going to ask this question, which is quite controversial, and I think that we've talked about this. Which option is more difficult? Is it more difficult to start and build it and dig, or is it more difficult to inherit as a pastor? From a pastor's standpoint, is it more difficult to do what you did, you, God, and the work of digging in there every single Sunday, going, make all throughout the week, or is it more difficult to inherit a church in the sense of the foundation is there, you got the people,
right,
and all you got to do is show up and preach?
Right.
Which one? Which one is more difficult in your opinion?
I can't talk strongly from the taking over because I've never experienced that, but I can imagine that it would be easier because the buttons are already there, and all you have to do is turn on a light, turn on a switch. Oh, we got it now. And all you have to do is just open the door and possibly have everything there. But from digging, it's frustrating. And not only is it frustrating, but it's overwhelming because the people that you were helping before you start pastoring, they won't even come and help. They wouldn't, and maybe I didn't need it. They wouldn't send you $3, and $3 will at least help me. But then again, maybe God didn't want the $3. Maybe God wanted me to feel the pain. And so in where I'm at now, and I know next year my son's going to be taking over, I would rather for him to have something that's already made. It would be easier for him. But I know he's going to take it to another level. But I don't know that side. I would have loved to have known it to walk in it. And I had an opportunity I thought I had an opportunity, and it was shut down a couple of times. But it also led me to really just to enjoy life and to make the best out of the life that I have.
So I feel a little different. And my dad likes to say he plays devil's advocate, but I'm going to play devil's advocate. I think that both are difficult. I think that the one sense of being the person who has to cast the vision, not really find the people, but the people have to come because of God using you, and staying consistent in that, and keep building and keep digging and keep monitoring and keep pouring and pouring and pouring into people, into family, into the community, all of that. I think that is hard work. And I think you truly have to be called to do that. I think that is a calling. That's not a hobby. That's a calling. Because I believe that there are a lot of people who like the idea of being a pastor, because now in 2025, the idea of pastorship has turned into a business. It's turned into being a celebrity in some ways. And so the art of digging and pouring and all of that is not the same of like it was in 1991. But also in the aspect of taking over something, that's hard too, because you're taking over from a group of people that followed a leader that they got accustomed to. That's like somebody like coming in and stepping into a role that's like, this pastor's been here for 30 years, and I like the way that Reverend Jackson prays.
Right.
and then you got to dig in. What I just think that both of them are hard.
Right. I agree
I
with you.
think that both of them are difficult, but like you said, for the sake of who we are and the sake of where we've been, I'm always gonna say the digging by yourself is difficult.
Right.
Just
Right.
starting by
Right.
yourself is more difficult than that.
And I think it's the same because now you don't know who with you. So
Yeah.
you can take over something and the people that have been there can be like, where did you come from? And what do you
Right.
think you're going to do? So
Yeah.
now they can help, but they're like, they're watching and seeing the iPhone be at number 1 and see, I'm waiting for number 5. I'm waiting to see how it's going to fade
Yeah.
up. If
Yeah.
it doesn't do well, but in the meantime, they're not all in. They're
Yeah.
they're on the sideline. So I think it's a learning process on both ends, and then people follow you until they find out something you want them to do. If you tell them, I need you to do something, and then all of a sudden it changes, like, okay, give me a minute. That minute that they want is really not a minute. They want to find an exit strategy. If I can find a door
Get
that's
up
still
out that
working,
jam.
thank you. So it's all inclusive, and it can be exclusive. It's part of just leadership. It's part of that.
So let's go back to starting in 1991, and you have 2 daughters. Let's talk about you being a father and a husband and a father. And
Right.
and we'll talk about the husband a little bit
Right.
after we talk about being a daddy. So for me, I'm gonna be very, very honest and very transparent. I always had a lot of resistance and a lot of disdain for my father becoming a pastor at 8 years old, because I felt like that wasn't the plan. We came from a very large family church where all my cousins, all our family friends, we had our built-in community. And at 8, you don't really know what adults are thinking, but you do know that like our life changed so much. So we went from going to church with all of our family, extended family, and then my dad's like, God called me, and we go into this storefront church, and it's me and my sister. And so over the years, I had a lot of disdain. I've always been a very nerd in some aspects, so I wasn't really able to express how I felt. So I was a crybaby, and I held a lot of stuff. And so for me, with my father becoming a pastor, it felt like there were so many eyes on me that I did not ask for this. And so I think that my own personal journey was very interesting. I'm interested to hear how you felt. Maybe you may not be able to go back all the way to that moment, but now in the seat that you sit in now, how are you thinking about being a father to 2 girls and being a pastor? Like what goes on there?
Well, now in retrospect, looking back, I think I was unfair because I didn't know how to juggle. You know, I'm trying to juggle marriage, ministry, marriage, family, ministry. And from my perspective, I was trying to find, how do I provide? So provision was main in my mind. So how do I provide? Because I had a job, I was doing good. So in my in my subconscious, I'm not doing what I'm supposed to do. So I gotta turn this hustle up. I got to turn this hustle up. And in the meantime, yes, I missed some things. It was unfair, unbalanced. But if I had to do it all over again, I would do it through my grandkids. So that's what because I can't go back.
Yeah.
But I got to go forward. And I know some of it was unfair, but I didn't know how to juggle because it was too much. So I went to what was comfortable.
Yeah.
And what was comfortable was providing. And sometimes you're okay, you all are here. You're eating. I'm making sure you eat. When really the main thing was making sure everybody was okay. And I never checked to see if everybody was okay. So my advice to pastors that started, make sure everybody is okay. And if everybody's okay, they may not agree with you, but as long as they are okay, because now you have dialogue.
So without telling too much of our business, my father and I had a very, very, it was a rough relationship because, and this is the reason I said it was rough, because we're just alike.
Right.
We are just, He is Glenn, Bishop Glenn, and I am Janice, but
Elder,
really we're
Elder,
the same.
Elder Glenn, Elder Glenn.
Elder Miller. We are really like the same person. And when I say the same person, like we are always going to fight for the underdog.
Mm-hmm.
We have hustle. You know, we have a certain way about ourselves that we going to stick by you. But when
Right.
you start cutting up,
Right.
we going to turn you over to the hands of the Lord. But I think that for me, there was a lot that happened. I acted out a whole lot, especially in my college days, because I couldn't understand, I couldn't make sense of it. And I harbored a lot of like things about my father that I was like, he should have done this, he should have did this, he should have did this. And why didn't he do? And why didn't he do? And like he said, you can't go back in time. But I'm very thankful that God allowed my father and my parents to be pastors, because there was a protection in that, but it was also it was a preparation for what I am called to do, and having discernment and having a pastoral heart. It doesn't come off like that, but I do have a pastoral heart in different instances. And I will say that I think that the moment that I extended grace and lifted all of how I felt was our 30th year church anniversary. And it was like during COVID, I think. And we did an interview, and my dad was like, during the interview, we were all sitting at the house and we were talking. And he was like, I just didn't know what I was doing.
Mm-hmm.
He was like, I was trying to do the best that I could. And it was like immediately God was like, now let it go. And I was like, you're right, Jesus. Yeah. Because you harbor these things, and I had held on so long, and I think that me being able to let that go, as well as when I did get put out of one of my places, I had to go back home. And my father allowed me, not allowed, but he welcomed me back home and was like, just come back home, catch your breath. And it was in that moment I was able to work on me, but I was also able to really learn to appreciate my father for who he was and what he had done and all the sacrifices that he had made. So I think that if anyone is listening, a pastor's kid is listening, or a pastor is listening, and you are just completely, zeroed in on what God told you to do, that is amazing. But like my father said, please just make sure that your people are okay. Just take a moment to find out if your children are okay. Take time to laugh, take time to enjoy life, because when it's all said and done, all you have is each other. And that's true. It's said and done.
But I want to add to that the wind blows the strongest to the people that stand the tallest. The wind blows the strong. If you're standing tall, the wind hits you. If you're in between buildings, you don't feel the wind. But when you get above, in your thought, in your process of thinking, I call it process of thought. When you get tall, it's like, why am I experiencing all this? And I believe the reason why things hit you so strong, because you was the eldest, and I say elder Miller, the elder Miller of the Millers. So you experienced most of the blowback, and you caught it firsthand. But you have been a trooper. You stood through it, and I celebrate you. I celebrate you. I think it's in you, and like I said, you've been a leader for the family, and yes, you're trying to be my parent, and I'm accepting it. I did not want to come on this podcast. I had some else, and some said, just settle down, get what she's telling you to get. And I thought about walking Ivy up the stairs yesterday, and I'm walking her up, and she's holding on the banister, and it looked like she looked at me and said, "You got next." Somebody's going to help you up the banister. So I celebrate even this season.
Exactly. And I just want to pause there and say, like, me doing this and getting in front of a camera and talking, I'm going to tell y'all right now, I would have never done this if it wasn't for my dad. My father was like, "Gee, you're talking about Girl BU, but you're hiding behind it. Nobody's ever going to know what Girl BU is until you talk about it." And I was like, I can't. I'm telling you, I used to be super, super stage fright, and now you turn this mic on, and then just all of a sudden I get to run in my mouth. Now, I do want to go back because we talked about the daughters, but I want to talk about Mama because Mama is my girl.
Right.
That's my girl, y'all. My mama is
centers, gossip centers. Gossip.
Listen, me and my mother, we get on the phone all the time. My dad peeks in, he's like, "You on the phone with G?" Yeah, we on the phone. Now let's talk about pastors' wives, right? I think that pastors' wives sometimes get a bad rap. I think sometimes that they, take on a lot of pressure. Now, I will preface this and say that not all pastors' wives are pleasant, the same way pastors' kids are not always pleasant, because I think that their internal gets in the way of really serving and being who they are and who they should be. And sometimes it hinders instead of helping. And so let's just talk about Mama for a little bit. Let's talk about like her support. Do you think that what was her support like to you? Like what was it then? What is it now? And especially with y'all like coming up on this retirement, like how does all of that feel? What was she to you then and now?
During our infant stage, she was the backbone. She was the support. She was the one that carried it because you didn't have a support. I had God, but then again, we need God, but we also need someone tangible that we can talk to, talk through. Some of the things I was able to learn from her is that hang in there. And she's always been a support. The older I get, the more I see that she's very supportive from the distance, meaning she's trying to pull me where I need to be in a place of rest. But in the infant stage, she was the backbone. Even now, she's supporting the next season of ministry. But in the beginning, she was the lifeline. She was the one that did women's conference. She was the one that was calling people and loving on people. And it wasn't something she loved to do. She kind of gleaned to do it because she felt like this is what you're supposed to do. And when she started doing it, she got really involved and had one of the greatest leadership women conferences and meetings. As a matter of fact, some of the people that's at the church now is because of the Women of Valor. So that she's always been that woman of valor. That's not just a cliche, but it's the way she is. And I celebrate her. And she's been a girlfriend, and not only a girlfriend, but a businesswoman. A lot of what people see now, they see me out front, but the one behind doing the typing and straightening out my letter, because I'm not good with writing letters. I can write a letter, but she marks it up. That's wrong.
And now that my mother has semi-retired, he calls me, G. I need you to draft me. And because it's my daddy, I'm gonna do it.
You came from her, so you shouldn't be doing that. Since you came from her, you should do something for her. And since she's a second lady, you're not the first lady, the second lady. I hope that you're honored to do it. Thank the Lord.
I am. I'm always gonna take care of my parents. So I think that's beautiful. And I will say that one thing that I appreciate as being a married woman. Child, my daddy was scared, y'all. My daddy thought that I was gonna just never get married. But thanks be unto God. Thanks be unto God, because God is good. Oh, I thought you gonna have a smart
I never
comment.
thought you was never gonna get married. I was just praying for the guy you married. Lord Jesus.
Hey, listen, everybody.
I see this side, but Lord, the other side is what I'm concerned about. But thank God, EC has been a blessing, and I thank God for him. He has been I call it a storm chaser. Not only a storm chaser, but he has calmed the water.
Yes.
So I thank God for that. Thank God.
I'm gonna just tell y'all this. I don't put none of my marital business out there, but I'm gonna just tell y'all that when I tell you my family literally is so grateful, because y'all know I am. If you know me, my mother's like, God, we thank God for EC. We thank God.
EC is so mild mannered, but he's so mild mannered that he has a lot of strength in not saying nothing but looking. It's like. and you know
And
that,
he,
and then you know that the river's getting ready to part. It's like
yes, and he
the
fits
first thing.
right in, and
Yes,
everybody loves him,
yes.
and he really is amazing. So, but I will say that in being married now, the lessons that I have learned from my parents over the years has been amazing. Even when we were planning our wedding, and sometimes you can get wrapped up in a wedding, and my father sat us down, and of course there was a lot of sit downs, but he was just saying, like, a wedding is the party. That is the party. And you do what you want to do. He said, but what's important is the marriage. And that is, and I can listen to that advice because, as my father stated, my parents have been married for 46 years. Has it always been a bed of roses? I'm sure it hasn't. But I also know that the strength, the resilience, and them keeping God in the midst of their marriage has taught me how to be better in my marriage very early on. So I'm super, super grateful for that. I have a couple more questions. And so we talk a lot about the girls.
She said this wasn't going to be long, but
It wasn't, but we're having good
yeah, it's good
conversation.
conversation.
Yeah, the only reason he's saying that he thought it was gonna be long because he's ready to change his clothes and go run out and do something. That's the only reason.
Y'all forgive me, but go ahead.
He gonna be all right. He
Yeah.
gonna be all right. Just a couple more questions. But so we talked about the girls. My dad, let me tell y'all something. He was so happy to get 2 boys. He didn't know what to do with himself. He was so happy. And literally our family was just so happy. And Gino and Jeremiah are the epitome of the best brothers that you can ever have. And I do not want to leave my sister out in this. My sister is the quiet protector of our
Yes.
family. My sister Veronica is a fierce protector of everyone. And if you see her, just know that she's watching and she's looking out.
And
So
she carries her knife.
please do not say that. It's gonna be so. But,
Don't play with her.
but,
She will cut you.
but she will not.
Yeah, you keep playing with Ronnie. Ronnie will cut you.
Ronnie really isn't to be played with.
Right.
Now,
Don't play
I'm
with her.
very congenial.
Right.
Ronnie gonna be like,
Right.
how are you? How are you? And she's gonna report back. But
Right.
I want to talk about the boys because I think that for me, I always said that the boys had a different like standard of how they were raised and what they were able to do, and because my daddy just loved his boys. Now, given he did give them, he taught them, but did you see a difference? Do you feel like there was a difference in how you raised us as opposed to the boys, and how do you look at them as it pertains to like ministry? Because both of them are pastors now. So
I think I was much rougher on them, but you also I was softer. But if you look at really the day to day, I used to punch those guys. I mean, literally punch them. Now they didn't get across the bed and whoop, but I was very hard on them because I expected more out of them. And then it was the latter part of my life, so I didn't have the strength to whoop them. So you had to put the fear in them, and they've turned out real good. I mean, they're gentlemen, great husbands, and great fathers, and
Yeah.
they love the Lord. So I think that the latter taught me to be a little bit more sympathetic and also not so much energetic, but just calm down, but pour in. Because if I pour into them, then you will see what. And a lot of times I see, they say Gino acts like me, but I don't see it. But I guess my wife said,
just
"He's
like them.
just like you." I said, I'm not seeing it. And even
Yeah.
Jeremiah, I see some of it, but I don't see all of it. But I know they have a part of my DNA. But
Yeah.
sometimes I think either I'm blinded to it or I'm not paying attention to it. So.
Yeah, I do think that they do act just like you. And do you feel like a sense of pride that they are like in ministry and pastoring? Is that something? I just always wonder, is that something like, yeah, boys,
I'm proud of I'm proud of you. I don't think I put one high another. I'm just glad that everyone is doing what they love to do.
Yeah.
And then they're up where they're not taxing me or trying to drain me. But I think everybody, I'm almost like Mother Jefferson. All you all are doing great. And they're going to put me in a box because because I think Jeremiah does what he do, Gino does what he do, and not only that, and I know that was my alarm, but anyway, but
He set an alarm.
everybody do everybody do what they do, but at the same time, the success rate to me has been 99%.
Yeah.
That you all have been very successful, and I appreciate all of you all. And now I celebrate even the grandchildren.
So okay, I know you rushing out, but just give me a little bit more time, just a little bit more time.
Okay.
Okay. So this is a very interesting one, and I threw this in here because how do you feel about me as the oldest? Not necessarily having I shouldn't say a passion, but I am not in ministry per se. Like I am not. We currently live out of state, and
Mm-hmm.
I am not in ministry. I don't know if I have a real passion to do ministry per se, like preaching or teaching or any of those things. What is your view on that? Like, how do you feel about that? That like, because Ronnie's working at the church, she's helping at the church. Jeremiah is about to be the is the executive pastor. Gino is in ministry, and I'm the one that's like, y'all, I'm out here doing a podcast. How do
Right.
you feel about that?
I think you're doing more ministry than a lot of people, because to come online now is a ministry. More people are going to hear the message than see the message, because, and if I can just spin it this way, the massage took place early in life, but now the message is being exposed in the latter part of life. So no one really saw the massage. But
You're right.
now you're still in ministry, but you're doing ministry a different way. And sometimes we get caught up in ministry being behind the sacred desk, or ministry being in a church. But ministry is in the building. It's your temple. I'm with those scriptures in there. You're the temple of God. And since you're the temple of God, the Spirit of God dwells in you. So whatever you do to expand the kingdom, and it's really to bring light to the kingdom and not to bring light to us. I wrote something down. I don't know where I put it. And it got in my spirit this morning. I don't know where I put it. I think it was in this phone, because sometimes I don't type, but I
You
talk
got
on the
two phones, one for the plug and one for the lube.
No, one is for my family and one is for the church. Anyway.
Okay.
This says,
Plug and a load.
you lead people to Christ, not to you. The reward is life-changing. You lead people to Christ, and you don't lead people to you, because the reward is going to be life-changing. So I believe you're leading people to Christ from the standpoint, and even this podcast is talking about children being was pastors' kids.
Yeah.
So there are a lot of pastors' kids out here that don't want to be pastors' kids. They're like, please.
Yeah.
And as a matter of fact, everybody say I'm the worst kids, but kids are kids. Yeah. So you say they're pastor's kid to put a curse on them. All of them they're going to lie. They're going to steal. They're going to take candy out the candy machine because they feel it was theirs.
Exactly.
Of course, they're going to hit somebody upside the head. They hit them.
Right.
They are people too. So I think if we look at it from the standpoint, they are people. And people are going to be people. And don't judge them, put them in a category because they're pastor's kids. I think that's an injustice. But I think what's really important to your question, what's really important is that you are doing ministry. And I think you're doing a great job.
Thank you. And I think that's a takeaway, because I'm sure there will be a lot of different people that will want to hear and will listen. And I think that so far I love this conversation, because like you said, so many more people will hear about this. And I think pastors, whether this is your first year, your 5th year, your 20th year, is to really invest first into God, so then God can give you direction, and then be invested into what God called you to, and then take care of your family.
Right.
Take care of your family. It is great to be a part of whatever you want to be a part of, whatever group you want to be a part of, whatever community you want to be a part of, but know that your family is most important. In my eyes, that's the most important. I know that people, EC said that when he married into the family, he said, I thought that they were going to be praying all the time, and really at the end of the day, all we do is laugh and connect and have a great time. When you get to the house, we cuts up so bad, because that is our safe space. It's our space to build. It's our space to grow, to catch our breath, so then that we can go out and do what God called us to do. But I'm going to leave on this last note. We talked about Jeremiah being the executive pastor. So shout out to my brother for being the executive pastor. This is amazing. I love to see it. And if y'all are listening and you looking for a church, you're looking for a place to worship, y'all know I was going to do it. In Bellwood, stop by Life Christian Center. They have amazing services where Jesus really is the center of everything that they're doing. So many great programs, so many, just worship and community. So if you are looking for a church, make sure you stop by Life Christian Center. Jeremiah is becoming the full-time pastor. Okay, let me just say it, full-time pastor. And I am the one that's always going to tap into my feelings, my emotions. And I'm going to tell you right now, my father said that he's literally going to retire. I definitely got emotional because May 1991 changed our lives for some would think for the worse, and I honestly think it was for the better. And the changing of guards that's huge. That is huge. And so I am my parents are they're like my best friends, and I'm always gonna take care of them, always gonna look after them. And I'm always wondering how they feel in these big moments. So how do you feel with retiring and literally being alive to see this baton passed and you passing it?
I've been studying this for the last 7 to 8 years, seeing Bishop Brazier hand it over, Clay Evans, and some of the other leaders, and then some leaders that had to hand over because of default. But one of the things I'm learning, and I was reading it last night, that Moses picked Joshua, and then Joshua handed Joshua the baton. And when Joshua got the baton, the same thing that God told Moses, he gave it to Joshua. If you look in the 13th chapter of the book of Numbers, he says, be encouraged. Joshua takes over, and his main goal is telling the people to be encouraged. I am sitting on the shoulders of Grandma Leanna and Grandma Fanny. I'm sitting on the shoulders of Ruth Miller that empowered me. They prayed. 3 generations prayed. I didn't know what they were saying. As a matter of fact, what they were saying at the time was crazy. Go to church, and not so much go to church, but love the Lord. In the latter part of my life, I'm learning that it's not about having a big church. It's about having a big heart for people. And if you have a big heart for people, yes, people will come. But it's not the people coming to your church as much as you enjoy them in your heart. So I'm celebratory for Jeremiah. I think he's the right choice for this season. And I'm going to say this, he's a baby that I wasn't expecting. I don't want to say that because at 40 years old, my wife told me she was pregnant. I'm like, Pampers, Similac. But now I'm glad he was born because now he has a passion for God, as all my children do. But he's all in. I mean, all in. Meeting every week. I don't like meetings.
Y'all, I'm telling you, this is a miracle.
Yes.
When they say miracle signs and wonders, this what this is. Because he's really going through. I want y'all to know that.
I am. Every month I'm going to go to a meeting and then sit there and then, okay, what you think? Okay, what I was thinking was blah, 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 blah. And then, all right, well, the sermon we got to write it out. But like,
listen, my brother Jeremiah my dad always says that he was our teacher, and then we left and went to college.
Right.
So all of us have left and either worked in different aspects of ministry, worked in corporate. We've done all the things. My daddy can't stand no meetings.
Unless they shorten to the point, unless it's like 1, 2, 3.
My mother is always like, how do you talk to him? You got to talk in highlights. Man, store, robbed, came home.
See,
that's it.
Dog, run. Don't tell me where he's going. See the dog run.
You cannot start talking about, well, the person was walking down the street, they had on a red shirt. What's the point? Well, the man got attacked.
Yeah.
Thank you. I'll talk to you later.
and we can move on from there. But but I think that's my DNA, and
Yeah.
I'm learning more now to appreciate time spent
Yeah.
with family, and it means a
Yeah.
lot.
Yeah.
I had an opportunity, and Jeremiah didn't know it was a treat to take him to Disney World because I said I want to be able to take Ivy to Disney World, and Jeremiah came up with the date, and we went. And when I sat there outside when they was going in there looking at Minnie, I was like, "You said this,"
Yeah.
and he came outside and just spent time. And one of the highlights is to have Ivy on my shoulder and have Shaba. Did y'all feel that? Did y'all feel
No,
it?
they did not. They did not. Did nobody feel that? But I will say that my parents are truly the best grandparents ever. Like to all of their grandkids. Those kids go crazy for Papa G.
Right.
Crazy for Papa G. I also will say we'll end on this because I know he's struggling.
50
In his retirement,
minutes and 50
y'all, I was just gonna say he looking at the minutes like she said 30. This is 52 minutes, and we. I will say this: I'm very excited about my parents' retirement because this is not the end of them. This is just the beginning for them. They have a they have their own world called Miller Marriage Moments.
Mm-hmm.
And I am going to try my hardest. I'm going to fast and I'm going to pray that hopefully my father will allow me to be the creative genius behind that because they have so much wisdom to share. They have so much knowledge to give. So if y'all ever see them on Facebook with Miller Marriage Moments, go over, support them. Flood their lives because I'm telling them that y'all be wanting to know what it's like being married. Because after the wedding, y'all, you gotta live. You gotta live. And that's a whole nother conversation that we're not gonna even get into. Daddy, thank you so much for sitting here for 52 minutes. Only I could get him to do that. Only I could get him to. Thank you, Daddy, so much. This is going to go live. I don't know how often we're going to do this, but I definitely want to have this kind of conversation with my dad to just really bring light to seeing a healed father, daughter, pastor's kid, just talk about our life a little bit and to let y'all into our world. Go listen to the Girl Be You podcast. Make sure you're following my book club. Make sure you're watching the Patreon and all the other things. I also have a YouTube channel. You can go there and stay connected. This is a part of my life. This is a part of me being authentically me, authentically who I am. And remember that with every step that you take to always be your most authentic self. And girl, be you. Thank you, Daddy.
And life is
worth living. We're the family of taglines. All right. I'll talk to y'all later. Bye.
Be you. That's all that you can do. Girl, be you. That's all that you can do. Don't be nobody else. Don't be nobody else. Don't be nobody else. Don't be nobody else. Girl, you should be yourself. Don't be nobody else. Don't be nobody else. Don't be nobody else. Girl, be you. That's all that you can do. Girl, be